Today I'm going to tell you an interesting story about the life of St. Lydia of Thyatira. St. Lydia is also known as the patron saint of businesswomen and merchants. According to her story, she was born in Thyatira, a city in Turkey around the 1st century. She grew up in a bustling hub of trade which was famous for its rich textiles and dyes. When she was a young girl, St. Lydia was drawn to the business dealings of the textile industry. Later, she eventually owned her own business and became one of the best textile merchants in their town. Her success was quite rare for a woman of her time. According to the Book of Acts, St. Lydia was a seller of purple cloth. This was important to understand because back in her time, purple was a color mostly worn by rich individuals and it cost as much as silver. So her business was likely well respected in society. But despite her success in her trade, St. Lydia also had a deep spirituality. Though she was born a pagan, she was a God-fearer and a Gentile who believed in the God of Israel and followed Jewish teachings, though she wasn't fully converted. On one fateful day, St. Lydia was in Philippi, a Roman colony in Macedonia. There she met St. Paul, who was preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ for the first time on European soil. St. Lydia listened closely. Something in Paul's words awakened her spirit. The Book of Acts tells us that the Lord opened her heart. At that moment, Lydia became the first documented convert to Christianity in Europe. Without hesitation, she and her entire family were converted and were baptized by St. Paul in a river. The site of her baptism was still preserved and a small chapel was built to remember her name. After her conversion, her home in Philippi became a gathering place for the early church. Her house also became a sanctuary for believers, a safe space for early Christians who were hunted for persecution. Even St. Paul, St. Silas, and St. Luke stayed in her home for gathering and prayer. Later, she became the pillar of Christians in Thyatira and helped finance some of St. Paul's missionary travels. Though the rest of her life isn't well documented, tradition holds that Lydia continued her ministry quietly but powerfully. She remained a faithful follower of Christ, using her resources to support missionaries and fellow believers. It was said that St. Lydia most likely passed away in peace, surrounded by those she had converted to Christianity. Today, St. Lydia is venerated as the patron saint of businesswomen and textile merchants. Her feast day is celebrated every 3rd of August. If you like stories like this, follow, like, and subscribe.